Hello everyone, welcome to Building Block Dev. Today we are going to be talking about a crucial aspect of networking and security called the proxies. Whether you are a software developer, an IT professional, or you are just curious about how computers work, this video is for you. So let's get to it. Without any further ado, let's just go into the meat of the matter. In a previous video titled the client server model, we spoke about how the client can send requests to the server and the server can respond with a particular response. You can get the link to this video in the description where we talk about it in detail. In the real world of networking, there are different things that come into place. There are times that you might need a particular computer to speak on your behalf or communicate on your behalf. So these computers that are communicating on your behalf or on the server's behalf are called the proxies. And there are different kinds of proxies. There's a reverse proxy and the forward proxy. And if I say proxy without putting a prefix to it, I am generally referring to the forward proxy. So generally, when people describe proxy or they just say the word proxy, they are usually referring to the forward proxy. So let me distinguish between the two of them. So let's talk about how the forward proxy works. If the client sends a request to the forward proxy intended for this server itself, the forward proxy goes on to send a request forward that request from the client to the server. Then the server responds back to the forward proxy, and the forward proxy then forwards the request back to the client. So in this scenario, the forward proxy is working on behalf of the client. In general, the forward proxy is on the team of the client, so it makes a request on behalf of the client. So let's just talk about the use case. Say you want to access a server that is in Europe and doesn't allow clients that are coming from Nigeria. Your IP address can be used to detect which region of the world that you are communicating from. So what you can do is to look for a server or a proxy that can work on your behalf and is in a region where it can access the server. Say for example, it's in another part of Europe. So what you do is you send your requests to the proxy, then the proxy would replace your IP address with its own and send it to the server. Then the server will respond to you and the proxy would give you your request, will give you your data that you requested for. Yeah, so this is like a simplified version of VPNs basically. So now let's talk about reverse proxy. Reverse proxies actually work in very similar way but with a very big distinction. So let's describe it. You send your request from your client to this server. Then this server sends a request to the server. That's the reverse proxy sends a request to the server. The server responds back with your response and it sends it back to the client. Okay, the two of them are actually very similar with this example, but there's a very big distinction. Whereas the reverse proxy is on the team of the server. So when you are communicating with this server, you don't know that you are communicating with the server or a group of servers. What you just know that you are doing is you are communicating with this particular server, this particular reverse proxy. And because the reverse proxy is sitting between the client and the server and is on the server's team, the reverse proxy is in a very crucial position where you can do a lot of things with it. For instance, you can choose to reject or filter some particular kind of requests. Say you don't want a particular request from a region, you can filter them from here. You can also choose to use this reverse proxy as a position where you do caching so that you don't bother the server. And there are times where you would actually have more than one servers, and that's to balance your loads. This reverse proxy is in a very good position to distribute the load. So this concept is called load balancing, and we are going to deal with it in another video separately. So this is the general overview of how proxies work. So to recap, there are two different kinds of proxies: the forward proxy, which is on the client team, the reverse proxy, which is on the server team. And the reverse proxy is in a position where it can do things on behalf of the server, and these things can range from things like caching, filtering of requests, load balancing, and the forward proxy can be used to hide your location or to work as something like a VPN. So let's take a simple example to describe how the reverse proxy works. Okay, this is a simple express server, and what it does is to create a server that listens on port 3000, and when it receives the request to the slash, it just logs the header that are coming to the request. Okay, so let's start our server. As you can see, the server is listening on port 3000, and if we send a request, say call localhost 3000, it logs the header. So this is the header. It's coming from localhost 3000, and the host is localhost 3000, and the user agent is call because we're using call. So this is a configuration for nginx server. nginx is a tool widely used in backend engineering, and in this example we'll be using it as a reverse proxy. Okay, you can ignore this first line. Here we are declaring a host node be pointing to this server here, that's this localhost 3000. Then we are declaring the reverse proxy here, which listens on port 8081, and once it receives any request, it sets the building block dev header to proxy tutorials, then forwards the request to this server here. Yeah, so as you can see, if I do call localhost 3000, we can see the log here, which is exactly what we expect. We are going to log the headers. We are going to send back a response, which is this hello world we are seeing here. But if we try to send a request to this particular server, which is the reverse proxy, which is acting on behalf of this server, it adds this header and forwards the request. So if we do call, let me increase this, call localhost 8081, then we still get our response. But if you look at this particular place, you can see the headers, which is also declaring building block dev as proxy tutorial. So this is a simplified way of how a reverse proxy works. If you like content like this video, subscribe, and hit on notification bell so that you don't miss any of my content. And also, if you have people that would also enjoy or learn from this kind of content, you can share it to them. Happy coding. Bye.